Alright. Let's see, make sure everything's working right. Sweet. Alright. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Some of you guys, this might be your first time here. Maybe no one's even watching this in general. I'm sure not a lot of people are watching it live, but I felt like that was probably the better way to do it. Gonna do a little review of the Gneisenau. The event just ended. The German battleship line hasn't hit yet. Basically, the event, what is it, this Minefield Menace event, gave us the opportunity to preview and play some of the German Tech Tree battleships and get them out of boxes. And in the event, during the event, we had a chance to get the Gneisenau. I didn't spend that much money on it, so I don't feel too bad. I think I spent maybe 15 bucks between the ship and the camo. I got most of it through the actual Victory Blitz, which the screen isn't up for anymore, but the Victory Blitz was very helpful. I got the Gneisenau and the Kaiser out of a box. The Kaiser's kind of a fun little undercover seal clubber. Um, it's in my opinion, I think it's better at tier 4 and 5 than the Gneisenau is at 7 and 8. But the Gneisenau can be good. It's just a matter of how you play it, which we'll get into. So quick rundown of the ship itself. Well, get that out of the way. So, ship was built during World War II, so it was kind of what they had available at the time. Germany was looking at different designs. Hitler wanted bigger and better. So after this, you'll see ships like the Tirpitz and the Bismarck, which should be, I want to say the Tirpitz is, yeah, the Tirpitz is tier 8. I'm assuming the Bismarck will be tier 8 too. I'm pretty sure that's what it is in PC. But I know not everything in this marries up to what it is in PC, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, so one of the things that I do rather enjoy about this ship is the speed that you have in it. The speed's great. It's 28 knots, 5 degrees of traverse. Not the greatest traverse, but forward speed is pretty good, which you need it because of the way that you have to play this thing. Coming down to the guns, you've only got 6 guns. You'll notice 2 in the front, 1 in the back, turret-wise. You've got 4 guns in the front, 2 in the back. And they're not, they're not too large of a caliber. They're only 380 millimeter guns, so it's not like you're rocking super guns or anything. You're rocking, what most other battleships at this tier are rocking. But the one thing that you have that a lot of them probably won't is a crap load of secondary and auxiliary firepower. You've got what's that? 12 secondary guns, 6 on each side. You also have auto guns that are essentially firing HE. Your main gun, your actual secondary guns that you control. The build I'm running, I get them out to 7.83 kilometers, so they reach out there pretty far. Decent damage, they rock AP, which is nice. And then you've got those auto guns, so you get in close, and you've got a lot of firepower you can put down. But then it doesn't stop there. You also have 9,000 damage volleys of torpedoes as well on each side. 3 tubes on each side, 1 launcher. They're rear mounted. You can probably see them. Where are they? Where? There they are. I think that's them. Probably right in there somewhere. So yeah, they orient to the rear when you're not using them. When you switch to them, you gotta bring them around to the front, and they're not the fastest traverse speed, but so you kind of have to lead it. But it's nice. I like to actually use them when I'm in tail chase scenarios, anyways, against destroyers that like to get into your wake. I'll just turn one direction. They'll try to stay in my wake, and then I'll lob torpedoes at them. And if they try to stay in my wake, sometimes they'll run right into them. So that's kind of nice. Really, it's a fun little ship. But it's definitely not OP by any means. This thing I do think is OP. We'll get into playing them as I die and stuff. I'll review the Kaiser later, but for right now, we'll just go into, we'll discuss this one. Talked about the guns, talked about the tubes. A isn't the greatest, it's not the worst either, it's not too bad. Your surface detection is pretty good too, actually. 10.9, but your main guns, so 10.9 kilometers of surface detection, but your main guns, which is something I didn't talk about, I talked about range on the secondaries, reaching out to almost 8. My main guns reach out to almost 14 kilometers, which isn't bad, except the dispersion is horrible. Especially since you only have six actual guns that you're shooting at a time, your dispersion is just deplorable. But it's fast enough to get in range. So I'll go ahead and play a match now and see how I do. Oh, this is a high tier match. This might be pretty fun. It does pretty good at bullying battleships up close. They definitely will rip you apart if you get far enough away, but I've been in a lot of situations, especially when I'm high tier, where I will just run up to battleships and destroy them. Especially if one's on each side of you and you're going to take damage from them both anyways. I'll be shooting torpedoes on both sides. I'll be shooting my secondary guns out both sides. I'll be shooting my main guns at one of them. And so it's got a lot of firepower that you can bring to bear, and you can really do a lot of damage quick. I'm going to kind of cut over towards B cap and hide behind the island there. Play off the island, see if I can get close to something. Oh, I hate carriers. So yeah, let's talk about the AA. On the topic of carriers, you're in an aircraft. Normally I'll get like 3 or 4 aircraft kills a game if I'm sitting in the thick of it the whole time. This guy's not doing a very good job. I don't think their carrier captain's very good. Otherwise, he'd be spotting. He wouldn't be too worried about putting damage in right now. So we got the Fuso, so that's a tier 6. Ooh, there we go. Good old cruiser. Alright, I'm going to cut up through B and C. So there's my range on my secondaries. You can see it on the mini map. Look at that circle though of detection range when you're not shooting versus, oh man, the carrier. So there's the dispersion for you. And mind you, I'm pointing forward, so my guns are right on top of each other. Not the greatest. So this is where your secondaries are.
Enemy aircraft incoming! Enemy torpedo spotted! Enemy aircraft incoming! Enemy heavily damaged! Nice shot! We're under attack! The situation is under control.
Let's go. Stay and play for this. Come on, torpedoes. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So having torpedoes is kind of nice because I can. Let's see if those hit. It's kind of hard to tell. Yep, there they are. 3 hits, and he's flooding, but he put it out. So not bad at all. We took the carrier out. That's key. Our carrier is just gonna sit in the back, which I'm cool with, except he's got a destroyer on now. So. All right. Can't kill that.
Good job!
Yeah, so not the greatest shots in the world, but so this is another thing too. Like this cruiser. Let's turn it repair. He's messing with that destroyer on me.
Target hit!
Arizona looks pretty static. Still. Yeah, this one's pretty much done. So yeah, I mean, I like this thing at close range. You saw I dropped some pretty mad damage into that. Or something like that. It's just natural habit. I switch to my secondary guns and shoot just to get the rounds out right away. Now he's in range of my secondary.
Target
really
penetrated.
Excels is when you're in range of your secondaries.
Our team is about to win.
So good. Yep, so this one's pretty much done. We obliterated that team. Not bad, really. 61k. I mean, it's not the greatest at this tier, but if you're not getting close enough to do damage, I mean, you saw a lot of my damage that was secondary, and we'll take a look and we'll review how much damage my main guns and my secondaries and torpedoes at the end of it, and kind of do a breakdown once this battle's over, just so you can kind of get a feel for how much damage you can expect to do with your primaries and whatnot in this one. Oh, is he gonna come in the range? Nameless hero. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at our stats. Let's move this out of the way. Alright, so main battery damage of the, what was it, 60-something thousand, 61,000 I did, 37 of it came from main batteries. Secondary battery damage with my HE, 17 hits for 2,000, not a whole lot, but my actual AP damage was pretty high up there when you consider those were secondary battery shots. So a third of my main battery damage, and then that one full volley of torpedoes for 9,700 damage. So all in all, you're looking at about, Lord, 40% of my damage or more was my secondaries. So if you're not using those torpedoes and those secondary guns, and it wasn't supposed to, it's obviously not the greatest game in the world, but you can see where my damage breakdown came. I was firing my main guns as much as I could. I wasn't sitting on secondaries any longer than I had to. And still, secondaries ate up a good 1/6 of my damage, just for my main AP, the ones that I control. And then torpedoes, that was just a lucky volley, I just happened to get that off. But that was another 1/6 of my damage. So right there, that's a third of my damage coming from just, it's pretty significant. So you have to kind of use that speed, use your narrow profile that you can use to get in range, and rip them apart up close. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Kaiser now. So Kaiser is kind of the opposite of that. Your max speed, it's more traditional to the battleships at this tier. Your gun range, it's pretty average. Your secondaries are all manual controlled. You got 14, 7 on each side. They reach out to 5.7k. Really, it's nothing super duper special. What I do like about this one, though, is if you're playing it right, you can get your guns to kind of sing. I have a soft spot for this tank, or not this tank. I've been playing Blitz too much. World of Tanks Blitz. I have a soft spot for this little guy, for this battleship, if you will. So we'll go ahead and play a game in this as well, just so you can kind of see what you might have to grind if you're considering grinding this line.
Action stations.
Something about it. So you'll notice where the two middle guns are located, right? So that's 40% of your damage right there in the middle. You have to be really smart with how you orient your guns, just like any other battleship, but This one more so than the rest of them, because in the middle you have one gun on port and one gun to stern. So, or starboard side, and one turret to port. So you know you can do some narrow, angles with it. But and again on the front, I better show that. It's not the most narrow angle in the world, but it's pretty narrow, But it really excels at a distance when you're broadside,
Enemy target
which is
spotted.
kind of rather unfortunate when you think about it. You got to go broadside. But if you look at your firing arcs here, you've got about a 40 to 45 degree firing arc where you can get all 10 barrels on one target. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. Oh, I love it when they come up close. I'm about to get spotted. Wait for this guy to go broadside. The reload on these guns isn't too bad either. Yeah, there we go. Secondary is singing.
We hit the enemy.
Too much. He's trying to dodge torpedoes. Love it. Love it when the destroyers do things. Probably die.
Good job.
Shut up.
Target hit. We're under attack.
One thing that I did notice in a couple of battles, this is going
Destroyed an enemy ship.
some extra rounds. What else do we got here? Let's finish off that South Carolina. Nice, nice. How much have we done? Alright, there we go. Guess we should get that up there, huh? Ooh, you want to go broadside to me? Yeah, so if they go broadside to you, you can really punish them with this. Your guns are super good, in my opinion. No big deal. I think we are hurting them. I'm kind of far out here on my own, though. Maybe chase them into their cap. Let's see what do we got here. Long range shots. Yeah, my whole team's on the other side of them, so all their guns are oriented that way. That's kind of nice.
Nice shot.
Citadel. Alright, now this guy wants to. A little too much. I think one of the most demoralizing things ever is you get a battleship down about a
We're hit.
and you run to a repair kit. This guy's kind of newer. He's pushing in
Target hit.
areas, but he really doesn't have a choice. He's going to have to go get in their cap. So.
Good job. Nice shot. We're under attack.
It's like what I was saying earlier.
We hit the enemy.
Broadside to you.
Ship's on fire. We're hit. The situation is under control.
This battleship. Time's almost out. No, that was good. Let me just do that. Oh, he's done. Cool. So, that was the, what is it, the Kaiser. That was the Kaiser. That's probably only my third game in this thing, but I haven't really, I mean, I really don't have a need to play it that much. I'm just holding on to it to show the video of it. But, yeah, it's not, you know, not a horrible little ship. It's kind of fun. If you're just looking for something to seal code in, this is a bad battleship for it. Personally, yeah, Battlestar. I prefer the Koenig if I'm in a SEAL club. Has all those good properties of speed. It's a cruiser with battleship guns. It's a battle cruiser. Yo, look, MVP. So let's go ahead and I'll do one more in the Gneisenau. Let's see, what am I running? What would I run if I was looking at a captain for this? Well, I mean battleship captain in general. Yeah, I'd probably be looking to try to get some tank out of it. I really don't have a tank build. My equipment, my secondaries, I'm running that extra range. You know, I'm kind of playing towards that strength. And then I'm giving myself some traverse speed, and I'm looking at torpedo damage reduction, because I do get close a lot with this thing, so torpedoes are a major concern. You know, if I'm in range to launch torpedoes, obviously someone else is too. Sorry for the background noise, by the way. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that the background noise is just there.
General quarters.
Alright, so one more. A little bit different gameplay this time. I'm going to play off the big island over there. Like I said, you really have to get close with this battleship in order to truly put your, your strengths to use. Oh man, the start of this game, or the start of matches in this game, are so slow. They just drag on sometimes. It's one of the reasons I stopped playing the main game, is because, you'll spend 2 minutes in the match before anyone's even spotted up. Alright, so there I'm spotted. I'm going to go ahead and
Enemy target spotted.
play off this rock. Do they have bots? No, there's no bots. Good. I'm kind of sick of playing these
Torpedoes!
bots. That AK. Secondaries. Oh, there we go. Let's go destroy that hooker. Really a fan of the
target hit
line, though. I don't have the energy, but yeah, grinding out the Japanese.
Enemy torpedoes spotted.
That's the other shit.
torpedo spotted. Hit the enemy. Target hit.
Shoot my primaries. Alright, so let's go for this North Carolina. So I've already put in 42,000 damage. You know, this thing is quite a bit. Considering there's still 5 ships left in the game for the Reds. But I am the focus of the attention. It's not the smartest thing that I've done. I should have went around the rocks, but I'm just kind of trying to
hit the
prove a point
enemy!
here. Alright, so let's see if this North Carolina lets me throw some torpedoes into them.